Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to do something a little bit different. I've been thinking about this for a while because I do get questions periodically about what lenses I actually invest in, which lenses I think are really fantastic. I obviously review tons of lenses. On average, I'm going to cover close to 100 lenses per year. And so that means that over the course of a more than decade-long career at this point, I've reviewed a lot of lenses. I'm going to start this series by taking a look at Sony E-mount, because E-mount has been the most prolific mount for lens design, I think, in all of camera history. There are more lenses available on Sony E-mount than you could ever possibly shoot, and I've reviewed a lot of them, but there are still many, many lenses that I have never seen, touched, or used. And so at this point, you have hundreds and hundreds, if not more than 1,000 choices on E-mount. So it is a very prolific platform. So there's lots of choices. And of course, a lot of those lenses have come through my hands over time. And obviously, I can't afford everything, nor do I try to add a lot of lenses to my own personal kit, because the reality is that most of the time I'm shooting with other people's lenses. And so I don't have a lot of time to shoot with my own personal kit. But there have been some lenses that just stood out enough to where I said, I need to add those to my own kit. Some of them are newer lenses. Some of them are fairly old at this point. But all of them, I think, are still really exceptional. And so I'm going to talk to you about, I've got in front of me, I have got 7 E-mount bangers here. And there's also a couple of bonus lenses I'm going to talk about that I don't have in front of me, but I wish that I did. And so we're going to dive in and take a look at going from wide to long, and in price going all the way from $160 up to about $2,250. So none of these are the most expensive lenses out there. Many of them are really, really excellent value, and so I think that there is some application for you. And the lenses that I have here that are a little bit more expensive, I think are well worth the price that is asked for them. Now, one caveat I'm going to give is I'm giving you prices as of today from B&H Photo, which is the standard that I typically look at for prices. Prices are going to be given in US dollars, and there obviously is going to be fluctuation from market to market. Also fluctuation even here in the North American market depending on sales, because some of them are on sale at the moment. I'm just giving you a snapshot of the price at this moment in time. So let's start with the wide end of things, and I'm going to start with the Viltrox AIR 14mm f4. This is such a unique little lens because it is incredibly compact, palm size, and yet covers an extremely wide focal length of 14mm. It has a maximum aperture of f4, but what is interesting is that while it is so small and while it covers a very wide focal length, it does it with a lot of great detail, even on a high resolution 61 megapixel sensor like my A7R Mark V. It delivers highly detailed images, making it a great lens to bring along to throw into a backpack if I'm out hiking or I'm traveling when I want to add that extra wide angle of view. And for only $160, it is a tremendous value. Now, the second lens I want to talk to you about is one, again, from another third-party manufacturer, and this is the Schneider Kreuznachs and LK Samyang 14 to 24mm f2.8. The name is a bit of a mouthful, but I love this wide-angle zoom lens. I love the fact that it is so compact, and it is very, very competent. It covers an amazing zoom range of 14 to 24mm, all with a constant maximum aperture of f2.8. You can put traditional filters on there in a common 77mm filter size, and what's more, it has amazing up-close capabilities as well. I have found this lens to be tremendously versatile. It also adapts very well via like a Megadap adapter to Nikon Z-mount bodies, and so it is a really fantastic lens. I love it. You can, right now, it is under $1,000, 960 US dollars. It's a great value for a great lens. Now, on B&H Photo, just so you know, if you're looking for the lens, they don't sell it under the LK Samyang name, but they sell it under the Rokinon brand. It's kind of a weird thing that LK Samyang does, but for whatever reason, in some different markets, they sell under different brands. So either the Rokinon or LK Samyang 14 to 24mm. This collaboration with the German optical designer has produced a lens that I think is really, really special. And at this price, I think it's a great value because it covers such an amazing focal length. Well worth your consideration. Third lens that I think is an absolute banger is the Viltrox Lab Series 35mm f1.2. Now this is a bit of a beast of a lens. It's big, it's heavy, but it is amazingly good optically. And I've put it in a number of different comparisons. It holds up really well on all of those comparisons, despite at the moment being just $800 US. $800 for a lens that is this good is a truly amazing price. And I've put it up on the Nikon platform. I've put it up against their extremely expensive and even bigger 35mm f1.2 S-line lens. This lens does shockingly well in that comparison, and so I think it is a tremendous value. It's a really, really amazing lens, and if you can handle the weight, you're going to be delighted with the actual images that you can get. Fourth lens that I have now used for a number of years since its release, and it has been perhaps my most used prime lens over that time because I've used it a lot for filming on this channel, and that is Sony's 50mm f1.4 G Master lens. Now, I really love the optics from the 50mm f1.2 G Master lens. However, when the f1.4 came out, I thought that it was a sweet spot of size, weight, and then delivering really, really high performance. I do think that the overall rendering is a little nicer from the 50mm f1.2, but this lens is even sharper. The autofocus is amazing on it, and it is utterly reliable. I've put it into comparisons with a lot of other 50mm lenses, and I haven't really seen any of them that I think surpass it in terms of the overall package when you consider the overall build and handling, the feature set, the autofocus capabilities, the sharpness, the rendering from the lens. It does a lot of things really, really well. Now, it's not cheap. It's $1,450 US. However, when you look at some of the lenses it competes against, it just doesn't have the compromises that some of them do. And so this is a lens that I would continue to take every day of the week. It is my favorite 50mm lens that I own. Number 5 here is a lens that I have fallen in absolute love with, and that is Sony's 70-200mm f4. This is their Macro G OSS Mark II lens. This lens is just good at everything. And at the moment, because we'll get to a caveat there as one of the unshown lenses in just a moment, but at the moment, this is the primary lens that I'm actually using for macro photography, for all of my product photography, when I'm doing a lot of my video shooting for the channel. It just does everything great. And I absolutely love the fact that you have a 1:2 macro or 0.50 magnification at every single focal length. It gives you such tremendous just flexibility for framing and shooting, and it delivers really, really gorgeous image quality. There's some lenses that just have an extra sparkle to them. It's not just that they're competent or they're sharp, but there's a bit of magic to the rendering, and this lens, despite being a zoom lens, is one of those. It's not cheap, but at the same time, it is so versatile that I absolutely love it. And this is a lens that is getting a lot of use for me personally right now, and I 100% recommend it. In fact, if you want to throw on either extension tubes or teleconverters, it is fully compatible with with 1.4 times and 2 times teleconverters. It just adds to the versatility and gives you even more macro capabilities. Throw on a 2 times teleconverter, and all of a sudden you are shooting with a full 1:1 macro lens, and it still delivers great results. And so I think you could get by with it as being your sole macro lens if you're not hardcore into macro photography. It just adds a lot of extra versatility there. It can be had right now for about $2,000 US, and so it's a bit spendy or pricey, but it is so versatile. I mean, it's good for all the macro stuff, and then of course for all of the telephoto things that it is capable of doing. Again, with the teleconverters on there, you can move out to a maximum of 280 millimeters or even 400 millimeters with the 2 times teleconverter. I love it. It is absolutely great. Lens number 6 is my most used lens of all. And since it has been released, Tamron's 35-150mm f2-2.8 VXD lens, it is a lens that has gotten huge use from me for about close to 5 years now. I have used it in all kinds of situations. It is my absolute go-to lens when it comes to any kind of event photography. If I'm shooting weddings, I don't shoot them often, but when I do, this is the #1 lens that's on my camera. For all of my church event things, this is always on the camera. It is so versatile. It does so many things well. well, and the image quality is just fantastic. You've got that bright aperture, that uniquely kind of, genre bursting zoom range, all with bright aperture throughout. It is an absolutely fantastic lens, and people ask me if you could only own one lens, what would it be? This is it right here. This is my one lens because it is the one that does the most things. Yeah, it's a little bit big and heavy, but considering what it does, it's an absolute banger of a value, particularly considering that the price has drifted down on it, and you can get it right now for $1,500 US. At that price, it is an absolute steal. And if you owned only one lens, this would be a very good one to consider. Final banger that's being shown to you here is an oldie here. I've owned it for a long time, but it remains in all of the comparisons of telephoto zooms that I have done since. It continues to hold up really well despite its age, and that is Sony's 200 to 600 millimeter. This is the f5 to 6.3 G OSS lens. It is a unique lens and still remains quite a unique lens in that it is an internally zooming design. I absolutely love this lens in the field. It is so easy to grab the focal length that I want, or as I'm tracking, to be able to easily move it. That zoom range is nice and short. It moves with absolute precision. It's got great autofocus. Pair it with one of Sony's sports bodies and tracking becomes effortless. And typically, to get that kind of performance in the past, you were having to spend big money for big glass. No, it's not the brightest lens out there at a maximum aperture of f5 on the wide end, f6.3 on the telephoto end, but neither does it compromise further. Some of the other lenses that have come out will compromise by going to, beyond that to f7.1, f8. Not the case here. I absolutely love this lens, and I continue to use it often, particularly when I am testing, new cameras, or if I just want to get out and get some great action shots at a distance. It's absolutely a great value. $2,250. Again, it's not cheap. It was more like $2,000 when I bought it because prices have drifted up, unfortunately, on it. But it continues to be a really strong value, and I feel like it has maybe fewer compromises than a lot of the lenses that it competes against. So, two bonus lenses. One of those is my next lens purchase, and it's already set in motion. I'm just in the process of selling off another lens right now to, put together some funds to purchase it, but I am absolutely going to add Sony's 100 millimeter f2.8 macro G Master lens. And that lens is so incredibly versatile. It is so incredibly sharp. It works with Sony's teleconverters, and at $1,500, it's not a cheap macro lens, but it is absolutely, without qualification, it is the best macro lens that I've personally ever used. I absolutely love it. It is going into my kit. As I said, I think that this is a great substitution in the short term, which is why I've been able to sell off other macro lenses to help to purchase that. But absolutely, it is a lens that is going into my kit. The final kind of bonus addition here is there is no Sigma lens represented here, but here's the Sigma lens that I wish was in front of me right now. It's one that I would absolutely consider adding to my kit, and that is one of their newest lenses. It is Sigma's 35 millimeter f1.4 Art Series Mark II lens. Not only did they manage to shrink the size down and make it really, really compact, not only is it incredibly sharp, as we expect from Sigma lenses, but it also has incredible autofocus, and what's more, it has beautiful rendering. A lot of people don't know, but there were a couple of exceptional lenses in the previous generation of Sigma's DSLR lenses, and those were the 28 millimeter f1.4 Art and the 40 millimeter f1.4 Art. They just had a bit of a special sauce that ordinary Sigma lenses didn't have. I feel like this new 35 millimeter f1.4 Art Mark II is a lens that recaptures some of that spirit, but does it in a much more compact package with the engineering that Sigma can only do in 2026. And so I think that it is an absolute banger of a lens, and it costs a little over $1,000, $1,060, but it is an absolute value, and it is the first 35 millimeter f1.4 lens that I think can go head to head with Sony's own 35 millimeter f1.4 G Master and actually take the win. It is a really, really special lens. So there you have it, a total of 9 different Sony E-mount bangers that I think are, if you buy any one of these lenses, you absolutely will not regret it. They are fantastic additions to anyone's kit, and I am certainly delighted to have them in my own. If you want more information about any one of these lenses, in the description down below, have added the links to both my video and text reviews for each one of them. So go ahead and check it out, and so that you can make a more informed buying decision for yourself in the future. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and let the light in.